Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, to, that's right, another amazing podcast. Referrals Podcast is here. And my first question to you is, when's the last time you got over 500 referrals in one day? Probably not very often. Have you generated over 500 referrals in a day? Today, you're going to learn how to generate over 500 referrals in a day. And I'm not going to bury the lead. I'm going to tell you a little bit of the answer. And the answer is a system. A system. You know I love my acronyms. System is just another one of those acronyms that I love. And it is saving you stress, time, energy, and money. Today, we're going to save you stress, time, energy, and money when it comes to your events. And the results are astounding. The results might be surprising. They may be unbelievable for some of you. Very believable for me. Over 500 referrals in one day. You're going to learn that secret today. Part of the secret is a system. And I'm going to even share how you can jump into and get that system. I'm not even going to bury the lead there. Go to eventmastery.com. Sign up for Event Mastery. Event Mastery System. I'm literally going to hold your hand for 8 weeks and help you throw your referral generating event. Ladies and gentlemen, it is referrals guaranteed at Event Mastery. Go to eventmastery.com. And hey, listen, if you're a cheapo, right? If you're a penny saver, if you're a penny pincher, then go to referral-mastery-academy.com and just sign up for Referral Mastery Academy. Then you get Event Mastery plus all the other stuff that we do for just $99 a month. Pretty powerful. I think it's the biggest no-brainer in the sales industry. Make it happen. We'd love to have you. Welcome to the Generosity Generation. And speaking of the Generosity Generation, this was literally just posted recently. Joey Calvin, who came to us kicking and screaming. I'm telling you, I know Joey very well. Joey does not sign up for stuff. He just doesn't. He's been burned in the past. He got trust issues when it comes to trainers and coaches, and don't we all? And guess what? This is literally what he just posted today in the Generosity Generation group at joingengen.com. Another referral from my fall event. The event was 2 months ago, people. 2 months ago. That's what he just wrote. Another referral that he got from an event that he had 2 months ago. He must be following Follow-Up Mastery, which is part of Event Mastery. So Joey, shout out to you. Keep implementing. Thank you so much for your trust, Joey. Man, I'm never, ever going to belie that trust. I want to be the most trusted coach out there for you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And the other reminder is just Event Mastery class It does start on March 11th. It will sell out. Limited seats available. We keep it somewhat small because we break into quads. You know, we have a lot of accountability that's associated with it. We do have a limit on our Zoom account. So check it out at eventmastery.com. It's an all new class, all new book, all new material, all new PowerPoints. And we've been teaching this for 5 years. We just revamped it over the last 3 months. You're going to love it. Can't wait to share with you the elements of Event Mastery. Speaking of things I cannot wait to share with you, I cannot wait to share this guest with you. We are honored, truly honored and privileged to have our guest on today. I am absolutely thrilled to welcome Parker Smith back to Referrals Podcast today. Parker is a force and the force behind the Parker Smith State Farm Agency. That's right, he's an insurance agent. A venture he established in 2017 with a clear mission to provide outstanding insurance services and safeguard the assets of his beloved South Carolina community. Since becoming a licensed insurance agent with State Farm in 2015, he has been dedicated to ensuring the well-being of his clients. Parker is not only a seasoned professional, but also an alumnus of Clemson University, go Tigers, holding both a bachelor's and master's degree in communication studies. Beyond his professional pursuits, Parker is a family man. He has been married to his wife, Mary Pat, for 8 years, and together they navigate the joys and other things of parenthood with their three children, Curtis, Mary Brown, and Walker. Parker, welcome back to Referrals Podcast. We love to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Well, I'm super excited about your event that just took place. We have the fortune of talking to you just a week after the event, and honestly, I can't wait to unpack this with you. Congratulations on such a successful event. Tell us what you did. Just start with like, all right, I held an event. Here. Just tell us like what event did you do? What did you name it?
Sure.
Who was the
Sure.
target market? That kind of thing.
Yeah, so I hosted a half-day conference for business owners in my community. I called it the Good Neighbor Growth Summit. Good Neighbor coming from State Farm, Growth
Hmm.
Summit being because it was a conference and it was all about growing your business by referral. And it was a half-day conference, and the main target audience was business owners in the community. I work with a lot of people in the real estate industry. So there were a lot of realtors there, a lot of mortgage lenders, a lot of people associated with real estate.
Yeah, what I love about this is you're in insurance. So your target market is basically everybody.
Right.
But you did not necessarily do a consumer direct event. Your event is much more a B2B kind of event, but you weren't, it was almost like a B2I, which is a business to influencer conference, right? You're really talking to realtors, talk to a lot of consumers, lenders talk to a lot of consumers, business owners talk to a lot of consumers. So you were really kind of, I don't want to say killing two birds with one stone because I don't like that cliche very much, but you were really going after, hey, listen, if the realtor needs insurance, I'd love to have them. But man, I would really like to also have the client of my client, right?
That's right. That's right. And that is a natural market for me anyway. It's something I've been working on for a couple of years with a coach in referral mastery of gaining relationships with centers of influence. So it really did work well to where, of course, the people that attended the event could use my services. But I was really targeting my referral partners, which I think a lot of the people in Gen can do as well.
Yeah, love that. All right. So what inspired you to do the event? Like what was your beginning why? Let's start with why. Why do an event? Why do this event?
Right. Well, I've gone through event mastery before and I've followed the steps and I've done smaller events. So I did a grand opening for my office. I've done new customer appreciation events. I've followed the system and it's worked well. But I told Carla, who is my business coach, and I know we'll talk about her more in a little bit, but I told her that I really wanted to have a jam-packed value event for my referral partners. And my ultimate goal was to, gain influence with the people I already work with, but then also meet new people in the community. I opened up a second location in a new town. So I wanted to just throw an event that I thought could really catapult me a couple years in the future of, I could try and meet all these people one-on-one, or I could throw an event where I bring all of them to one space.
Yeah, love that. Love that. And so, all right. So we have the why, and you're looking to give value, you're looking to meet, and instead of maybe having 200 one-to-ones, you're going to have, you're going to invite 200 people to an event and
Right.
maximize your time, leverage and scale, have more of a one-to-many approach than one-to-one, just a good use of time, right? So, all right. So, can you break down how you identified and approached these partners to make this event go on?
Right. So this was the first time, I've done multiple events. This was the first time I've ever had sponsors at the grand opening and the other events I had. It didn't feel like a good place to have the sponsors, also because I was new to the town. So I
Yeah.
still needed to create those relationships. But since the majority of my business owners were going to be in the real estate, community or industry, I decided to target, industries that are directly affected with real estate. So a closing attorney, a home inspector, a plumber, a roofer. So that, and a lot of those were people I already knew, which was a great starting point. And then if I didn't know, so for instance, I didn't know any good landscapers. So I asked trusted people to introduce me to someone that they thought would benefit from being a sponsor.
Wow, love that. So you use the event to get referrals. Like
Yes.
you, I mean, yeah, the event could have not even happened and you would have already got a landscape referral and other potential referrals. So how many sponsor partners did you end up with for this event?
I had 8 total.
That's awesome. And so tell me a little bit about them. Like what industries were they in? How many did you know and how many were you introduced to or referred to? Tell me a
Right.
little bit about your sponsor partners that allowed this to happen.
Let's see, I had 8 total sponsors. I had a closing attorney, a pest control company, a home inspector. I had a photographer who he
Yeah.
specialized in taking photos for Zillow.
Hmm.
I had a roofer, a plumber, a landscaper, and then we also had Carla's coaching. She was
Yep.
a sponsor of the event as well. So
Referco was a sponsor.
Referco was a sponsor. That's right.
Oh, how cool is that? All right.
So we had, let's see, I knew personally five of the 8 sponsors. So I knew the majority of the sponsors already,
Hmm.
which really helped. And just called all of them and asked if they'd be interested in partnering. And I shared the vision of what the event would be. And then the 3 that I didn't know, I called local realtors that I respect and asked, hey, who do you think would be a good landscaper? Who do you think would be a good roofer? Who do you think would be a good photographer? And they were able to all connect me with people that they thought would be a good fit. So they just, put me on a 3-way text with them. I set up a phone call later that afternoon, and then they let me know by the end of the week if they wanted to sponsor.
Well, all right. So we got to unpack this real quickly because they're genius, right? In the approach is you're getting introductions from people you know. So you didn't go to the phone book, you didn't Google local landscapers, you didn't go to, Facebook and look around and cold call, you didn't DM someone, right? You had somebody do an intro, but not just an intro. I would bet that the people that are taking notes right now on this missed it is the three-way text. The best way to get a referral is a three-way text. The best way to give a referral is a three-way text. It's the best way. You have everything in writing. It's easy to remember to go back to it. You instantly get their mobile number. You can change their contact information in your phone. You can call them. You can follow up with them. You can do all kinds of things. So love that you
And
did three-way text.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I was just going to say I did cold call one sponsor, which I never heard from again. So I mean, that
Hey, quit
shows.
it. You're making my point, Parker.
That's
You're
right.
making my, yeah.
That's right.
So you did try to cold call one of them and it didn't work out very well. And it probably felt awkward as heck.
It was.
It's like, what do I say to this person? So, all right. Now, so I was about to ask you, how many, sponsors did you approach that said no?
I so the one that
Yep. He
it was
didn't even
a
say no. He didn't even respond.
that's right. It was an appraiser that we did talk and he just never responded back.
Yeah.
But after that, I did not have anybody tell me no.
Yeah. So you're basically 8 for 8,
Eight
right?
for eight.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's a pretty good percentage. Makes me want to tell you to keep more at
And the one
bats,
thing,
right?
I felt a little, and this was a self-limiting belief. I felt awkward asking for money,
Mhm.
knowing that I was going to give them a ton of value. I told them I was going to have, an event of over 200 people that were all in the industry. But since this was the first time I had had sponsors, I lowballed how much for them to give.
Yep.
And I could have gotten more money, which would have just enhanced the event. So for next year, I will know to be more confident in that. I did have a presenting sponsor, a gold sponsor, and a silver sponsor. So I allowed people to kind of pick what they wanted to do, and there were different benefits to each of those. But there was a self-limiting belief of even asking for money. So I
Yeah.
can see why other people don't do sponsors.
Yeah, yeah. We've got to overcome that, right? And
Right.
and that's what I love about the event mastery system is we're like, I'm not sure how to deliver the value at the event other than putting their logo on everything, which leads to, not a lot of value. And then all of a sudden you see in the way we run it, you endorse them, which is worth a lot. And then you
Right.
also have a lead generation methodology for them that will actually not just generate leads, but actually will generate referrals for them. And, sometimes it's after the event we realize how much value that we could provide for them. And with Event Mastery, we have 3 referral systems. You can actually, and I've done this with RMS. I've already given all of my sponsors for Referral Mastery Summit referrals, and the event doesn't take place until the end of March. They've all gotten referrals from me because of our RSVP ASAP referral system. So, I love that aspect of it is, man, you are given a lot of value, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. And then, so where did you have the event?
I had it at the Hyatt downtown Greenville, which is the downtown of the city that I'm in. So we had it at a really nice hotel. The way I even knew about the space was State Farm, the company I work for. They had an event earlier in the year at the same venue, so I had already seen it, and it was really nice. And I wanted to make sure that I had gave the people who came to this that it was an elevated experience. So that is why I picked the Hyatt.
Yeah, I love that. And especially with like maybe a first event, is you may want to spend a little more money on the venue to impress. The audience doesn't quite know what to expect yet. So it's like, all right, they look around, oh, it's at the Hyatt. Okay, good. And you're kind of borrowing on the Hyatt's branding, and then boom, you have a good event. You could almost do the next event at anywhere, and they'd probably show up,
That's right.
because the value has been shown. So love that choice. And I have to tell you, is the name of your as long as you're with State Farm, you need to embrace the entire good neighbor. You need to have a series of good neighbor events. That is just the greatest name ever of
Right.
any, because what you are being a good neighbor, you're being a great neighbor, providing a lot of value, and then also, generating referrals for other community members with your event. So, it's really like they go, well, that Parker, he's a good neighbor. No, he's a great neighbor. You are a great, citizen of the community because you're helping them in so many different ways. So love the good neighbor.
Well, the one way that the reason I came up with doing a conference, a summit where people learn to grow their business by referral is already, but like kind of giving a little bit of backstory here is I have framed myself as, hey, I'm going to take great care of your clients or take great care of you for your insurance, but I care about helping you grow your business. So I've done that in really small ways for the past couple of years. So it was just a natural fit for me to do an event that was helping them grow their business.
Yeah. And you are, I mean, what are you now known for? Right? You're
Right.
known for referrals. I mean, you could have done an event that was business planning. Well, you could become known for business planning, but it's like that doesn't get you more referrals. But being known as the referral guy in the insurance industry is going to get you more referrals, right? The word referral pops up, the word insurance pops up. They put two and two together, and the answer is you, right? So you should have a referral event. An event on referrals makes a lot of sense because what's the topic of the day? It's referrals. And it's just like, it just brands you and your partners, honestly, as the referral people. So love that. Um, all right, and then all right, RSVPs are crucial, right? As we've I mean, what is the reason for your invitation to get an RSVP? And everybody needs to remember that. What's the reason for your invitations? Your email, your physical invitation, your digital invitation, your call to action. Great marketing is a great invitation. And how do we know it? Is great marketing generates a call to action, generates an action. Great invitation generates an RSVP. So, you're not in the biggest city in the world. You're newer to the community. And yet, how many RSVPs did you generate?
200,
Yeah.
like
So,
205.
yeah, 205 RSVPs. And that's basically in a 7, 8 week period, right?
Right.
And then how many attendees did you end up having?
I had, so 200 people registered, 150 people came to the event.
Yeah. So phenomenal attendance, phenomenal attendance. And you did it in January, right? Where it's a little colder. Maybe people aren't as active, but you knocked it out of the park with 150 people
With
showed up.
Another thing with having the intentional RSVP and the several steps of reaching out to them, confirming that they were coming and saying why I was excited about them coming to the event. Out of those 50 that didn't come, we had snow the day before, and South Carolinians do not handle snow well.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was like a 2 hour delay and all that. I would say probably half of those people that didn't come sent me a text that morning saying, "Hey, I can't make it," which for me gave me a great chance to have a follow up with them after, which is the whole point anyway.
Yeah, you bottom lined it right there. What is the point of these events? It's communication. It's the touches. I mean, you now have a really good reason to communicate. In fact, if they register for an event and you didn't communicate, you'd be on the wrong side of the equation. I mean,
Right.
how about that? Is you have a system that makes them want you to communicate. They are expecting your communication. Whereas most people's follow-up plans, client plans, whatever you want to call it, nurturing plans, are all based on things they don't necessarily want or are planning around, the market report, or I mean, the insurance report. I mean, like, it's not necessarily applicable, but in this case, it's super applicable because they need to know the details of the event. They need to be confirmed. So I absolutely love that, and I absolutely love the thought that you would have had a really nice 90% turnout probably if it wasn't for a dang snowstorm in South Carolina. We had one in Atlanta. The same. You weren't getting 200 people to an event in Atlanta the day after a snowstorm. Period. So they didn't even have school the day after. You know.
Yeah.
So I love that. All right. So events create massive opportunities for referrals, right? So how did you generate referrals not only for yourself, but also for your sponsor partners?
Well, surprise, I did the door prize entry form.
Yep.
So there were door prizes at the event. They had to fill out a form right after they registered. We had a table with name tags. They had to fill out a form right after that. And on the form it said, for me it said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer Parker Smith State Farm?
Yep.
If a 10, thank you, why? And then
Mhm.
if less than a 10, thank you, why? So that's given me a ton of good follow up for after.
Yeah.
Like, hey, thank you so much for saying that you would refer me. Let's grab coffee. And then for all of my sponsors, it said like, the first question said something to the effect of, my clients and I would benefit from being connected to, and then we had the list of plumber, closing attorney. But my sponsors really appreciated this. I called them the day before I made the form and found out, like, how do you want to be presented on this form? So
Mhm.
my closing attorney wanted to be a reliable closing attorney. My
Mhm.
plumber wanted to be a prompt, plumber. So like those kind of things. And we were able to give out, and I was honestly shocked. Each person got around 65 referrals for a total of 530 referrals, which, they're begging me to do an event again next year.
Yeah. So how many referrals did you generate?
Yeah, so 531 referrals.
Yeah. I mean, is there a mic close by? Because I think you should just drop the mic. Yeah. I mean, you generated 531 referrals for nine people, essentially, nine companies. And what an opportunity, right? And it's better for the 8 sponsors and yourself, because instead of following up with everybody and you send these drip emails or whatever you try to do with emails, um, to everybody you're not following up. You're not following up with everybody. You're following up with the people who raised their hand and said, please follow up with me. And there's an enormous difference between the mass approach and the attraction approach. We're not going to chase, we're going to attract. These 65 apiece had said, hey, listen, I'm open to a conversation with a landscaper. Landscapers got to freaking love that. They haven't had 65 conversations like that in probably 5 years. I mean,
Right.
truly. They can run ads all day long and not get that many. So I absolutely love that. And the other point that I really need to make with everyone is the power of your first couple of questions. And the first question is the 1 to 10. It's a net promoter score. If anybody's listening, you want to look it up, you can look up everything you want about NPS. Net promoter score is what he's using there with the scale of 1 to 10. And honestly, there's 3 books about this one question. And the first book is titled The Ultimate Question. The second book is called The Ultimate Question 2.0. So this must be the ultimate question, which is, how likely are you to recommend a friend or colleague to my services? And isn't it interesting? The ultimate question is, would someone refer you? And I go to that all the time is, listen, what is your purpose? What is your business's purpose? Your business's purpose is to be referable, period. If your business isn't referable, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. And then it's like, all right, now I'm going to hit you over the head with something is, what's your purpose in life? What's your purpose in life? Your purpose in life is to be referable. That's it. If you're not referable, then you've got to clean something up in your life. And so, it's obvious here that you're referable, and it's obvious here that your business is referable. But then you ask those second 2 questions that we teach in Event Mastery, which is, all right, thank you for, great. If a 10, great, what would you say to someone? How would you refer us? What would you tell someone about us? So then you're giving them practice to refer you. It's like they're working on their scripts right in front of you. I would tell them that you're awesome at home loans. And then you can get with them and say, not only do I do home loans, but I do auto loans. So you've got this follow-up point to help them refer you even more. And then if it's less than 10, probably most of those people are like, well, I don't really know you. Right. Well, that's great, because now they know you as an influencer in the community, somebody that was at the front of the room, and your follow up is so much more than it's not cold, it's super warm. Right there. When you follow up, they go, thank you so much for following up. I thought you were so busy, so successful, so influential, so awesome that you would never follow up with me. And it's just a different approach, I guess, an attractive approach versus,
Right.
Maybe the typical approach. So lots of great stuff that's going on there. All 8 of your sponsors had door prizes. I'm guessing they did
Yes.
well there. What was the
Yeah.
best door prize? What was the one that was like the everybody goes, ooh?
Yeah. So the presenting sponsor gave 3 6-month coaching with Carla.
Okay.
Group coaching. So people were really excited about that. And they framed it similarly of, hey, we all get, when you get better, we all get better. And so that was their door prize. Another door prize that was a hit was, a local restaurant gift card. That's a really upscale restaurant. So that was a hit. And we spaced those out throughout the event. The presenting sponsor came on at the end with the big gift, and
Yeah.
we teased that throughout the event.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. So let's talk about Carla. So Carla's been coaching with you, and you've been coaching with Carla for a while. She's one of our top coaches. So tell me about, how you got started with that, what made you decide to choose Carla, and then we'll go right into, not only is she coach, you hired her to be your professional speaker in this case. So
Right. Yeah. So I've worked with Carla for 2.5, 3 years now. We got connected. I've read the book. I've listened to the podcast. I'm a part of the Facebook group. I hopped on a free 1-hour call. And the thing that I loved about Carla was that she has real estate experience, but she also has other industry experience that was similar to me, of where a realtor is one of her referral partners. So that was a really natural fit, and it helped having someone that, twice a month, I could look at my specific business, my pain points, and come up with action items for our next appointment 2 weeks later. So she just was really able to give me some good insight from her experience. We were able to kind of dive deeper into the different strategies and what would work or what wouldn't work. So it wasn't, it wasn't general. It was all about, my specific business. So I loved that.
Yeah.
She was a natural fit for the event. One of the big selling points is I was telling people this person has been teaching me how to work by referral for the past 3 years. She's
Yeah.
had a major impact on my business. And oh, exciting news. I'm flying her down from Minnesota to come to South Carolina for a half-day conference. So people were
Yeah.
excited and she was amazing. One quick thing I want to say about the RSVP, because I feel like this is a nugget of something that I kind of unintentionally fell in, but it was from, learning from Carla, is before I ever sent the first invitation, and I know this is something that y'all teach, I called each of the people I was going to invite and asked for their feedback on what the conference should be on. So I would say, hey, Carla, she has three things that she's great at, time mastery, connecting with connectors, and time mastery with the disc profile. Which of these speaks more to you? So when they gave me their input, they pretty much RSVP'd on the spot.
That's right.
And I was able to get people really excited about the event. So I used that time on the phone to just say how excited I was to have it. They were going to be invited. I hope they could make it. And then I got their input. That, before I even sent out the first invitation, I already had, 80 people that I knew was going to come.
Yeah. How powerful is that, right? You already had momentum, and that's going to build your confidence too, right? So I love that. That's the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire strategy. And when you don't know something, what do you do, right? On Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, if you don't know the answer, you have three lifelines. You can do 50-50, you can phone a friend, or you can poll the audience. Well, what you implemented is, all right, narrow it down to two or three, which you did, and then you're going to phone a friend, and that's your top 10 people, and just say, hey, out of these three, what are the most interesting? What's the second most interesting? And you just get it. And then all of a sudden they're like, I can't wait for this event. And then you poll the audience, which is, who might be attending. Well, email them and say, these are the three subjects. What should I have her focus on? And they're going to go, when's the event? How do I register? How do I RSVP? Can I bring a friend? And then you've got momentum and you're rolling. And here's the other thing. If you don't get a lot of responses, then it's like, okay, I need to find a different angle. I need to go a different route. I need to speak and change my message. Luckily, in this case, and honestly, most cases, we don't have to do that. But love that you implemented it. Love that you did it. And another thing that we didn't talk about a whole lot, but I feel like you should talk about is, you also implemented the bring a friend strategy at a really high level,
Right.
at a table level. Can you talk about what you did
Yes.
there to increase your RSVP and registration numbers?
Well, at first I would say yeah, bring any colleague you think this would be helpful for, crickets, nobody did that. And Carla suggested that I give people the ability to be a table sponsor, have a RSVP table, a VIP table, to where they would get their own table up at the front, and it was free. All they had to do was fill the table with 6 to 8 people.
There you go.
And, some people went all out and got 8 people. But even those that didn't get a full VIP table, it at least got them thinking, okay, who should I invite? So there were, multiple people that invited 1 or 2 people. They didn't get a VIP table, but I got them still super excited about the event. And so yeah, that was huge. I mean, my attendance, there was probably 50 to 60 more people that came through that strategy.
Yeah, I love that strategy. I mean, because it's so laced in a compliment too, right? And you're not giving a VIP table to everybody, right? You're giving your VIP table maybe to those first 10 and honestly, those are the people you want to meet. I mean, the best people tend to know great people. So you want them in the room anyway, but it also turns them into ambassadors. And, I think the best part of all of it though is that you gave them something where, like the guy who brought, or the lady who brought 8 people, afterwards, all those 8, 9 people we're talking about was your event. They're like, oh, thank you so much for letting me know about this event. Man, wasn't that great? And so you fulfilled that promise in a big way. So, I mean, you became more referable simply by doing the event, and you haven't even done insurance for any of these people. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
I absolutely love it. And, so, all right. So for someone looking to replicate your success, what are the top 3 things that they should focus on to ensure that they pack the house and have as much of a success with this event as you did?
Right. The first is invite people that you know to the event. Similarly to the sponsors, all the people that I cold called to the event, like very few of them came. So using that, using my network that I had to invite to the event. I think the second thing, I stand by the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire strategy of calling and getting their input. I mean, I was on the phone more in the month of January than I've been on the phone in the past 2 years. Like that was
I love that.
it was pretty much my full-time job, was this inviting people to the event. Um, Inviting over the phone is so much more powerful than via text or via email. All of them need to be used, but calling with a personal invitation. And what was really cool, very similar to your book, Carla at the very beginning of the event said who got invited by this event by a billboard, an ad, who got invited by an email, who got invited by personal invitation, and people were standing up, and it just nailed the point home of people. Even though we're in a society where people don't talk on the phone as much, and that personal connection still matters.
Yep.
So that was a really cool thing, and I'm glad Carla did that.
Yeah.
So that, to know people, or invite the people that you know, the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire strategy. And then I think the last thing is have an event that you're excited about and make it compelling. If you're not
Hmm.
excited about the event, they're not going to be excited about the event.
Hmm.
And make it something that is worth their time
Hmm.
to go. I felt like this was a great use of their time, so I was super passionate about inviting them, and I was genuinely excited about them coming. So I think that's a big piece of it.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way you broke that down. The invite the people you know, especially in the beginning. Get in, and you're going to get some momentum. They're probably going to tell you yes. And then the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire strategy is a way to turn those yeses into ambassadors, right? They become true people on the street for you who are speaking about it. And it's also a what I call a pseudo or quasi invite. It's not quite an invite, but when they give you the advice, they're going to want to know more about the event. And if they gave you advice, this is from Persuasion, which is a really good book by Robert Cialdini. That's where I kind of took what I know about events and then what I know about influence and combine the two. Was when you ask for someone's advice and they give it to you, well, they're not just giving you advice, they're also giving you buy-in to whatever they're giving you advice on. So, get the advice on the event, and they're probably already taking steps towards your event. The only reason they wouldn't go is if they're out of town or they just simply could not go.
Right.
And then, you nailed it with the phone and text. I mean, no matter how many different ways we invite to communicate or to invent to communicate or invite people, it is amazing how effective that dang phone is, and where they can get ear to ear with you and they can hear you and hear your tone, and you truly. And I also think that that's why in the next event mastery, I also spend some time on the voice text, not voice to text, but literally a voice text. So you record the message and then they play it, and it just plays like it and the problem in today's society, especially, I'm working with a lot of 20 somethings now too. And I've noticed you could call them, leave a message, they may not even know it, right? They may not get it, they may not check it, they may not play it. But if you voice text them, they always hear it, right? Because it's because they've got to push play and so on and so forth. So
Right.
it is amazing to me that it really still comes down to personal interaction, phone, and hearing your voice and being in relationship. So love that. And then, I think the other big thing here is just doing it, following the system. I have to tell you, I had so many people who either texted or emailed or posted in the group about your event. And, like Angela was so proud, and all these people that went to your event that know, they were like, Parker ran the event system so well. He did, he had the best event. It was so much fun. And that's just, first of all, it's really cool that I love the Gen people supporting other Gen people.
Yes.
But I also, I just love when, you implement and you have a big success, and I don't know, it's been great to see your growth and great to see, where you're going. I don't know if you need to wait a year to do an event. I think you need to have a summer event that is similar to this, maybe even a spring event in April, where we do, you just get into event mastery, and that's, maybe you do a different kind of event in April. So.
Right. We do have some neat follow-ups from this to where we're doing a 7L book club. We're doing a time mastery class that people were invited to from this to keep that momentum going. But I agree with you. It does not need to necessarily be an annual thing.
Yeah.
And now the proof of concept is there. I think a lot of people, the people that did not come, they just didn't know what the event was going to be. And then once they got there and saw it, or the people that didn't come and saw the Facebook pictures, they're like, oh, this
Yeah.
was a nice event. I
Yeah.
need to come to the next one.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is you're in Greenville, South Carolina. That's not necessarily a motivational speaker hotspot. No offense to Greenville or Clemson or Seneca, three of my favorite cities, by the way. I will be in Clemson several times this summer, but it is one of those where it's like, they're going to have to go to Charlotte, or they're going to have to go to Raleigh, or whatever it may
Right.
be. And you brought that type of an event to your area. There is so much power to that. There's so much power in that suburb, what I would almost call like a suburb, a suburb summit. There's so much power in that because it doesn't happen as often to have a big speaker that comes in. So I absolutely love what you did, and you're still following up to this day, and you're
Yes.
building on the 531 referrals, and
Right.
um, you know, I think you nailed it. What are you going to do better next time?
Yeah, so that was one thing that's been really good is the day after the event, I got together with my team. I have a team of about 10 people, and we broke down what went well, what didn't go well. So we already have that. The second thing is I've been on my one-on-ones, but I've been meeting with people after the event. Everybody had a great experience and telling me that, and I've been asking for their feedback of, hey, what could we have done better? So it was in the afternoon and we didn't have coffee, so people were kind of starting to lose energy. It was getting a little. The room was cold. One of the sessions, was a little longer than the other, and they felt that. So just little things that next time I know I'll be able to implement to make it an even better event. Having a
Yeah.
breakout, doing things like that. People were so appreciative of, like you said, having a learning conference in their hometown. I think they want to do it again, and they were giving good feedback. And for the most part, they're like, "But that's really the only thing I can think of."
Yeah. I
So
love it.
it was, but that feedback too, again, similar to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Them giving me feedback on how to make the event better is just going to make them want to come to the next one even more.
Yeah, they're going to come and see if you did it, right?
Right,
And
right.
and you and hopefully you took notes. That was the only thing I did right. Honestly, I did all this stuff. The one thing I was awesome. I mean, look, I take notes. Nobody takes notes like Michael Maher. I don't think so anyway. I take notes on everything. So when I have those one-to-ones, I look back at my blessings book, and at the next event, I'm like, all right, I got 10 pieces of advice. And it's like we didn't do the breakout, right? We had coffee. We did not adjust the room. It's going to be cold. I'm just telling you, you speakers want it cold because it keeps you awake. but it's one of those like, all right, we didn't do a breakout with the person that it's like, hey, listen, just for how this, getting the people in and out of a breakout, it just didn't work for this event, but I really wanted to let you know I appreciate your feedback. And they're like, oh, you actually remembered what I said? It's like, yeah. But I just wanted to let you know. And then they're like, when's the event? I can't wait to come. And once again, they're in, right? Because they have input, they have power. The power of feedback. Here's what's so funny is with social media, everybody has the power to share their opinion, but it might have, for number one, it might have made opinions less valuable than ever before. But when you ask for it specifically, it's even more valuable because somebody's actually listening and they know it. So I love how you implemented this. I love all the things you did. One thing that you said, but I need to make a point of is, in follow-up mastery and event mastery, which is, it's an entire segment, session 8. And I talk about, the best way to follow up is with a one-to-one or another event. You're following up with one-to-ones, doing your right, wrong, and better, and you're following up with events, time mastery, and the book club are events, and you're doing it all right, and you're doing it really powerfully. So I just say kudos and congrats. What a great event. Has to make you feel good that you lived up to the good neighbor title.
Yeah, it was a sigh of relief when the event was over.
Yeah.
It was my full-time job in the month of January.
Yeah.
So that it went well, that people got a lot out of it, and that people are now looking to me for another, like just things like that. It did. You're right. It made me feel good about it. Was super thankful that Carla came and helped, and just through the system that you guys have in place, it definitely made a lot of the guessing, didn't have to think through that.
Well, I love it. And the other thing is your full-time job in January was conversations with people. What a great job. And guess
Right.
what? Your full-time job in February is 531 referrals. You are literally the referral manager for Greenville, South Carolina for the next month. I mean, and now your communication, every single communication you have in February is pointed, intentional, necessary, wanted, warm, and referral generating.
That's exactly
I
right.
mean, drop the mic, dude. You're on fire. Parker, this is awesome. I'm so appreciative of you. And I love how you've executed on this. And I hope everybody listens, and I hope everybody heeds the messages that you delivered today. This is a podcast that people need to bookmark and save, and probably share with their team and the people they know, or at the very least, hey, I got a call to action for you. If you're listening or watching this right now, share this with the insurance agent that you know right now, because this is genius. This is a system that is generating referrals, not just for the insurance agent, but the entire community. So I just want to say, Parker, awesome. Congratulations. And thank you so much for being our guest here today on Referrals Podcast.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you. Thank you. We're over 500,000 downloads on Referrals Podcast. You guys have made it possible. 370 some episodes. And I will tell you, this is one you're going to want to share. Please rate and review us. And when you do that, make sure you put your contact information in your review so we can refer you and we can also thank you. And then also, I'm just telling you, by the way, I know what the next podcast is about. Make sure you subscribe, because if you really like today, you're really, really going to like that one too. They go hand in hand with each other. So I hope you'll subscribe to Referrals Podcast. And last but not least, check us out at Event Mastery. Check out eventmastery.com. Check out referral-mastery-academy.com. I believe it's the best investment you could ever make. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time on Referrals Podcast.